All right, while Joe Biden's polls are in the dumps, Donald Trump's polls are surging, and Governor Ron DeSantis, not so much. So joining me now is the great Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor. Charlie, welcome back. So, I mean, this is kind of interesting. Not sure I know exactly why, but in the month of March, Trump has doubled his lead over DeSantis, and he's up by, what is he up by? 30 points now or some such thing. Anyway, he's picked up enormously. And Trump's been attacking DeSantis, right? Social Security, and he calls it names and stuff like that. Is that what's doing it, Charlie Hurt? Is that why Trump's pulling away at the moment? I know they're not voting, it's just polls, but nonetheless.
Sure. No, I think it's very significant and a significant jump. I mean, Trump is looking at a greater than 25% jump in his support. And honestly, Larry, what I think it is, it probably has something to do with the fact that he's starting to attack DeSantis. But I think the other thing is just the fact that Donald Trump's name is back in the news. And he has gone so quiet for so long since the end of the 2020 election that I think a lot of people he'd kind of drifted out of people's consciousness. And obviously, even now, people, the news outlets are not covering the primary the way that it's going to be covered by the time we get really rolling into it. But Donald Trump is kind of reminding people that, he's out there and that he is, people were a whole lot better off under Donald Trump, both Republicans and independents and Democrats, than they are today under Joe Biden.
I mean, if you look at this, and this is the Fox poll, in February, Mr. Trump was 43, Governor DeSantis 28. By March, Mr. Trump was 54, Governor DeSantis 24. Trump has criticized him, Charlie, as you know. He's criticized him being for Social Security cuts. He's criticized him on Ukraine. And also, let me play this. You were on set. Let me play some sound. Before this poll was taken on this show, I guess it was 2 Mondays ago, you were on set, or 2 Wednesdays ago, with radio broadcaster Mark Simone. Here's what Simone said. Who's running his campaign?
The Bushes are all tangled up with him. Bush, that can raise him $1 billion and get him all kinds of money.
Jeb Bush.
George
Bush.
Yeah, they're great.
Karl Rove involved.
Karl Rove.
Karl Rove is involved.
I assume he'll be the coach on the field. I think he is.
But do you know that he's been advising DeSantis?
He's been advising him.
All right. Now, Charlie, you were there. I was there. We're all innocent bystanders, right? But what Mark said went viral, as it turns out. Who knew? But it went viral.
Yes, it did.
And it was an attack on the Bushes and the support of the Bushes and Karl Rove. Karl Rove is a brilliant guy, but nonetheless. Does that hurt? That exchange came out before this Fox poll. What do you think?
Yeah, but I think it's all related. The Bush wing of the Republican Party, the establishment wing of the Republican Party, is just as terrified of Donald Trump today as they were at this point in the 2016 election. They're terrified of him. They don't like him. They don't like the direction he has taken the party. And I think they'll stop at nothing. And so, of course, they're absolutely lining up behind Ron DeSantis. We have no idea if Ron DeSantis has the sort of guts and the sort of fortitude to, that we know Donald Trump has. And the thing that I always think about is when I think of a candidate out there to pick up the mantle of the Republican Party, are they willing to walk into Paris, into the salons of Europe, and tear up the Paris Climate Accord because it's bad for America? We know Donald Trump is that kind of guy. Is Ron DeSantis? I don't know. It remains to be seen. I can tell you this. Any other Republican that the Bush wing of the Republican Party has ever put forward is not the kind of person who has the guts to do that kind of thing. And that's the kind of leader we need in this country to rescue America and to bring back our prosperity and bring back our freedom. And we know Donald Trump. You could say all the mean things you want to about him. The guy's got guts, and he is willing to stand up for America. And I think that sort of remembering all of that is why we're looking at this polling and seeing him doing so much better. And I think, and people make the argument, they don't think that Donald Trump can win new voters in 2024. than he had in 2020? I think that's a complete misreading of the situation. Donald Trump was still winning new voters the week of the election in 2020 because he was talking about the issues people cared about. And I think that if Donald Trump focuses on those issues and goes back to talking about them, he will win lots of new voters in 2024 that he didn't have in 2020. Because among other things, I think a lot of the lies that people told about Donald Trump and about Joe Biden are not going to work this time, and a lot more voters are going to be willing to support Trump.
Charlie Hurt, one last one before I lose you. Left-wing prosecutor Alvin Bragg in New York, it kind of looks like he cannot indict a ham sandwich. He's just unable to indict it. They've taken the month off. Charlie, you and I would love to take the month off, but unfortunately we have to work for a living. Does it look like Trump's going to, it looks like Trump will not be indicted, but what do you think?
Finally, we found a jurisdiction where ham sandwiches are safe. This guy can't indict a ham sandwich. It does look like that, but I have to tell you, there is no doubt in my mind, Larry, that Donald Trump will be indicted for something. Our justice system has become so corrupted by these people, and they have so politicized it, they will stop at absolutely nothing to destroy Donald Trump. So my prediction is that Donald Trump will be indicted for something between now and Election Day, and I don't think it's going to matter, partly because of the brilliant way Donald Trump handled Alvin Bragg in this situation.
All right, we'll leave it there. Charlie Hurt, the great Charlie Hurt. Appreciate it.